Welcome to Stream Economy, where we break down the biggest news across movies, TV shows, and games. Now, this week, Sony announced the PS Classic. This is a tiny little PlayStation that has 20 preloaded PS1 games on it. It'll set you back $99 and it drops in December. It joins the NES and SNES classics, which are also little versions of original consoles many of us grew up with. But if you think this is an episode where I sell you or don't on a PS Classic, think again. This is an episode about backwards compatibility and why I think it's fundamentally broken, at least mostly. Now, before you get out your pitchforks and torches and come at me in the comments, let's talk about the pros and cons and some possible solutions. And then you can yell at me all you want. Okay, here are the pros. Number one, you have the ability to play old games on new devices. I love that. Number two, you get to introduce those old games that you loved so much as a kid to a new generation of gamers. Also awesome. And finally, you're able to play games you may have missed out on if you didn't have the console or couldn't afford it when you were younger. With all those good things, though, come some not so great things. Which brings me to my number one gripe about backwards compatibility and playing old games on new devices. And that is, you gotta rebuy it. Every single time there's a new generation of consoles, you gotta shell out for the old games that you might want to replay again. Ugh, so frustrating. On top of that, a lot of people treat these tiny, cute little devices as a gimmick, and they might play it for a few weekends and then get bored of it, throw it up on a shelf, and then years later re-gift it to a cousin who doesn't know that it's not new. Now, that might not be you, but you're an outlier, I guarantee you. Most people play it for a couple hours and put it away. Part of that stems from these compilations only having 2 or 3 games you're actually going to play all the way through, which drops the value of those devices or discs significantly. Not to mention you have all kinds of legal gray areas with abandonware, licensing issues, and all sorts of other junk. I mean, I will probably never see Maniac Mansion on anything like the NES Classic because of all of the legal issues surrounding it. I think Disney still owns it because they bought Lucasfilm and they owned Lucas Games, and it's just a real mess, and I don't think it will ever be untangled. So you're always going to be disappointed at these compilations because some of your favorites will be missing. And lastly, some of these games just plain don't hold up. Have you actually played Super Mario Kart on the SNES Classic? It's a nightmare. And don't even get me started on the original PlayStation N64 era where 3D cameras were awful. Look, for me, I love these games. I grew up playing them. They shaped me. They changed me. They are part of who I am today. I get it. Sometimes I want to go back and relive the nostalgia and remember what it was like to be a kid again. But I also have no desire to breed chocobos for 20 hours so that I can get Knights of the Round and watch that summon animation one more GD time. I am interested in the Final Fantasy VII Remake, but who knows what's happening there. Some of you might make the argument that we like to go back and relive things like books or movies, and I get that. Every time I see The Fugitive on television, I stop and rewatch it. I love that movie. I killed the VHS tape of it when I was 10. But I also have a stack of shame of lots of new games that I haven't yet gotten through. So to ask me to go back and play games like Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars, that's a huge time commitment that I'm wagering not a lot of gamers want to do. So what's the solution here? I think I have it. Most video game manufacturers, all 3 console ones as a matter of fact, have solutions here, but I don't think they go quite far enough. Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft all now have services that offer access to older games for a monthly fee. And that's great. They should absolutely do that. I think a Netflix-like subscription model for old school games is absolutely the way to go. Cost-wise, Nintendo Switch Online is less than $2 a month, and unfortunately, Xbox Game Pass and PlayStation Now are a little more expensive at about $10 a month-ish. But I think there's a way for them to fix that. If they made their subscriptions around, say, $5 a month, but didn't give you access to current-gen games, so PlayStation 3 and prior, and Xbox 360 and prior, it feels like it would be worth it both to customers who want backwards compatibility, but not necessarily need current-gen games on those consoles. Now, there's also a perfect storm in that we have these huge libraries of old-school games, and we also carry around little pocket computers. Console manufacturers give us apps for our phones and tablets, and then sell us cute little Bluetooth controllers for them. Let us stream old school games from our phones and tablets to our televisions, even if we don't own a current gen console. Now, that sucks that you have to buy a current gen console to be able to enjoy these old school games. And I can bet dollars to donuts that there are a lot of people out there who can't afford to do that, but would love to relive the magic of all of the 8-bit and 16-bit games that they played when they were kids. Come on, guys, it's not that hard. All these classic devices are so cute and adorable, but they take up an HDMI slot on my TV, and they also can't add more games, unless you hack them, which I legally must say I don't recommend that you do. So stop hedging your bets, manufacturers. Get out there and make backwards compatibility the wonderful thing that it's meant to be. Let it recognize its full potential. Okay, so now you are allowed to go fight me in the comments. Serals, you gonna fight me too?
Who cares about backwards compatibility, man? Even when I cared, and I thought I cared, I actually didn't care. You got all these massive fancy new games and all these cool games, and then you're like, nah, I'm gonna play that really crap one that I was playing 5 years ago. No! Oh, the thing that's happening right now is, Mini NES, NES Classic, PlayStation 1 Classic, Sega Mega Drive, Sega Giga Drive, Sega whatever. How many HDMI ports do you think you've got? I've only got 4 on my telly. Be truthful. Look inside your heart. When is the last time you bought a brand new console, hooked up to your brand new sexy ass telly, and then was like, I'm gonna play this all crappy game? Never. You know it's true. You know it's true. You'll buy it, you'll plug it in, you'll play for 5 minutes, you'll chuck it in the bin, or you'll just lie and gather dust in your garage. You know what I mean? No, I play the old ones, man. Jesus Christ.
Thanks for watching this week's episode. I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Love, hate, indifferent, whatever. I am here to read it and listen to you. If you want to check out last week's episode, click right over here, and there is some bonus Stream Economy content right over this way. Till next Saturday, be good streamers.